Hey there, guys. Welcome back to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 181. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Today, we are talking about the Marvel Rivals 40K tournament drama, Life is Strange reunion, canceled Ubisoft games, Expedition 33, Fallout Season 2, and more. But as usual, we will begin with our recent activities and what we've been up to in the world of gaming.
Yeah, so I'll go first because Travis has a big one with Expedition. So yeah, I've just been finishing up some stuff I was doing before. So Final Fantasy Tactics, I wanted to finish it before the podcast. You know, still haven't. I'm trying to get the platinum because I like being a pain to myself.
Yes.
And some of those later ones are kind of a pain to get. Yeah, like grind all the job levels for one character, which is a pain. Then you have to do some crafting bullshit, but you know, besides the point. I'm basically almost done with the game anyway. I could like basically get my full thoughts on it. It's great. It's a great game. You know, some people put this above some of the numbered Final Fantasy titles, and I can understand why. The story is very ambitious for a PS1 game, and you know, I believe this is still the same script that a PS1 game uses, maybe a bit better localization because you know that was from the 90s. So yeah. I believe like some of the script stuff is a bit better written in this remake, but like yeah, it's really good. Like it's like standard JRPG stuff where you have like the two warring kingdoms against each other, and then the church is evil and does all that fun stuff. But the way to tell it is very good. It feels very Game of Thrones. There's a lot of backstabbing, a lot of internal politics, and then obviously you have the more fantastical elements to it as well. And like I said in the last podcast, I think the voice acting brings a lot to this game. Like some of these voice actors really bring their A game for this game, and it's great. I think it was a really, like, they didn't have to go the extra steps out of voice acting, but they did, and I really appreciate it because I think it really elevates this remake to really stand on its own. Like, you know, it feels like a reason to play it over the PS1 game besides the quality of life improvements that this remake makes as well. And yeah, the game is great. You know, if you like Fire Emblem or any of those other tactics games, I think this one would be right up your alley. It starts off a bit slower. It starts off a bit slower to sound like Fire Emblem, but I think the more you get into it, the faster it goes. Like, ironically, I actually think the battles are way faster than Fire Emblem since the maps are like really small, and you only have like a party size of like 5 at all times, I believe. And you could just nuke enemies, but the enemies also could like nuke you. So like things go by pretty quickly in this compared to Fire Emblem where you have like really long battles. So it makes for a really like interesting sort of like dynamic between Fire Emblem and this game as well. So and obviously you have more customizability with the job system, and you could mix and match what you want each of your units to do. That adds a lot of replayability as well. Just a great game. Like I could definitely see why people love this game for so long, and I'm happy to finally have played it. Just got like, you know, fully beat it, but at this point I know where the story is going, so I could basically be like, yeah, this game is great. So yeah, really good.
Might have to add that to my list.
Yeah, it's quite good. So yeah, next up is RE7. So I've been playing RE7 for the first time as well. I just beat the mom, so I think I'm going to go up to the son next. And dude, yeah, this game is great. So like I watched this game at least like a couple dozen, not a dozen times, but I watched like maybe like 4 Sun streamers play through this game when it was new, and then like maybe some replay throughs, like people were playing it, but I never played it for myself and I always wanted to. So it's just sitting on my PlayStation sort of backlog for so long, and now that RE9 is coming out, I really want to give this game a try. And yeah, it's great. You know, it's really scary. You know, those first bits where you have basically nothing. The first house segment with the dad baker, I forget his name.
Yeah.
Welcome to the family, son. It's like actually scary. Like, you know, you only have like a pistol. You basically have like nothing else, like a knife, I guess. And you're just running around like, God, I know this map really well. You know, it takes all the best elements of RE2, at least RE2 Remake, because that's the one I played.
Yeah.
I kind of add its own thing to it, being like, you know, first person. The game doesn't pause when you look at your map too, which is terrifying. I didn't even know that. So I'm like trying to run away from dad over there. I hear his footsteps getting close. I'm like, where the fuck am I going? I open my map and the game doesn't pause. I'm like, oh shit. So yeah, the amount of tenseness you feel in this game is great. And you know, I think that's why I really like RE2 Remake as well. Because, you know, when you're getting chased by Mr. X, or when you're just fighting regular zombies, you do feel pretty helpless for the most part. But as you progress through the game, you know, you get more, more of that RE-ness in there, right? You get like a flamethrower, you get your shotgun. So it starts to get a little less scary, but you still feel that good progression of like that survival horror elements where you just still got to craft all these ammo pieces and stuff. Like, you're not invincible or anything, but like you do get that sense of progression as you move up throughout the house. And I know like some of the layer bits people don't like as much, like the mines or the boat. I know like the boat's kind of controversial because you kind of just shoot zombies or like the slime guys for like hours. But yeah, so far I think RE7 is really good. I mean, I already knew it was a good game, but me playing it for myself finally, I'm like, yeah, this is hitting the right notes for me in terms of like the sort of scary RE like portion of the games, right? Because you can either go full action or that full scariness.
Yeah,
I think this one's hitting all the right notes for the scary parts of this series.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, I've also been playing it like on and off. You know, whenever my girlfriend comes over, she always wants to play like a Resident Evil game, and we did start Resident Evil 2 remake because we didn't do, I think it was Leon's playthrough like the second time, first time Claire, then second time Leon. So we were doing that. But then this day she was like, I want to play Resident Evil 7. I was like, all right, well, I guess we'll jump into another one. And yeah, Resident Evil 7 is fucking intense. I was in like that safe room in that first area so many times because like the dad was like chasing me around. I was like, get the fuck away from me, dude. But yeah, it is very intense, very scary, and yeah, you know, definitely the big reason why Resident Evil is relevant again today is because of that game's success. Yeah,
RE6 did a lot of damage to the brand of RE. So it's cool to see that 7 really brought the series back, and now we're here we are in like a golden age of Resident Evil. So that's always great to see.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So last thing I have on this list is Pokemon Mobile Slop that I just put on here. So I've been a little more busy, and I don't want to like just scroll through Reddit and Twitter like all day, every day on work or whatever. So I'm like, let me like download some stuff. And I was trying some like a bunch of different like mobile stuff, and it wasn't here. I was hearing about like Pokemon and stuff again, and people were bringing up Pokemon Go. I'm like, oh yeah, Pokemon Go. I remember that. Same thing with like the other mobile games. So I'm like, I'll download all of them and like play them a bit. Pokemon Go I actually do like quite a bit. Like I still think it is one of my favorite mobile games because it just feels very unique for the phone. Like you can't really get that experience anywhere else. Like it has to be on a mobile device. And I still really like the game a lot. Obviously when it came out in 2016, it was a huge fucking cultural like phenomenon.
Yes.
Like, everyone was playing it. It was. I still have those memories when we were playing it. It was awesome. That was a great time, right? But then, no one gave a shit for a few years. I re-downloaded it again during 2020, I believe, when the pandemic was happening, because there wasn't much else to do. So I wanted to like walk around outside because I was like furloughed from my job for a bit. So I'm like, well, I need to get out of the house and do something. Yeah. So I downloaded it again and had a bunch of fun with the game again. So I played it for a few months and then dropped it again. So this is kind of like my third like sort of jump into Pokemon Go again. And they added so much shit. There's like Mega Evolution. There's like Shadow Pokemon. There's like Dynamax shit. Like they added a lot of things to this. I think Niantic got like bought out by like some other company and stuff too. Like there was a lot of shit happening. But I've been playing it for the past week, and honestly, it's still a ton of fun. You just capture Pokemon. You could fight these Team Rocket grunts now. You could like rescue Shadow Pokemon. There's events happening. There's raids, and I've been getting kind of into it again. The game obviously isn't as it once was back in 2016. It never will be ever again. But I think the amount of features and updates they have make the game a lot more compelling than it was back then. And I've been having a good time. Obviously, they added more mobile game stuff, so there's like a battle pass now and all that bullshit. Yeah. You know how it is. There's where milk your money out of all your hard-earned money. But yeah, I mean, Pokemon Go is still a good time. It still enables healthy habits of like, walking. I mean, I'm already walking a lot for my job. That's why I like downloaded it to begin with. So I'm like, might as well catch some eggs while I'm doing it, right? So, but it promotes that healthy lifestyle. So I still think Pokemon Go is a really good game, unironically. Next two games are Pokemon Masters EX and the TCG. So Masters is a gacha game. I remember downloading this back in 2019 when it came out because a game about the Pokemon trainers and like getting to know them. That's cool. I like that. But then I played it. I didn't know what the fuck was happening because I didn't play a gacha game before. Now I have 400 hours in Zenless Zone Zero. I kind of know how this shit works now. And it's fun. I mean, it's like it's a typical gacha game shit. All the progression systems. If you played one of these gacha games, you played all of them. But the combat's fun. It kind of plays like a real time Pokemon battle. So, in some of the older Final Fantasy games, you have the ATB system. So like a gauge kind of fills up and then your character can move. This game does the exact same thing, except it's like 3-on-3 battles. So you have like 3 trainers versus like another 3 trainers or whatever. And honestly, like the combat's been a ton of fun. Like if they were ever going to do real-time Pokemon combat, this is kind of like how I would want them to do it. And And yeah, it's pretty fun. All the character models look great. The presentation is really good. The music is great too. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Like I'm not gonna waste a bunch of money on it, but Xenoblade Zero, I can only do one gacha game like fully committed at one time. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know how people could do like multiple. Fuck that. But it's a good game. It's fun. I like it. And then the one I probably like bounce off the most is the TCG Pocket. You just open cards, like that's kind of it. I remember I downloaded it when it came out, I think last year. And I'm like, this is literally all you do, huh? Like, yeah, you could battle, but like the battles are like this weird abridged version of the actual TCG. I'm like, just give me the real TCG at that point, right?
Yeah.
Because I like card games, I like playing them, but like this feels like baby mode version of like a baby mode card game. So what are we doing here? So yeah, I still don't really get this one. Like the card art is beautiful. They have like the dynamic, like I forgot what to call it, like the living card shit. So like if you get like a ultra mega rare, you could like go into the card and shit. That's really cool. But the rest of it, I'm just like, yeah, you just open packs and like that's kind of it. And the battles are kind of like okay, like it's not like the actual TCG experience. So it's whatever. But the other two I like quite a bit. So yeah, Pokemon Day is coming up at the end of the month, so I guess we'll see whatever big news Game Freak has or just a Pokemon company, and then we'll see, because I love my Slop. I love my Pokemon.
We love Pokemon.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so what have I been doing? Literally Expedition 33. I played some other games that I might talk about next time when I get more in depth into them, but first up, Expedition 33. Let me just get this out of the way before we get into like super deep spoilers, because last time I did the same thing, but I'm gonna keep it brief this time. No spoilers. Should you play Expedition 33? Yes, 100%. If you have a system, a PC that is able to play this game and you like RPGs, don't like RPGs, whatever, I think you should definitely give this game a shot. It's $50. It's not that much. And also the time commitment to it is only 30 hours. That's how long it took me to beat it, like 32 hours, something like that. So it's not that long, and on top of that, it's not that expensive either compared to other AAA games. Obviously, this is a indie game at the end of the day. It's a higher budgeted indie game. It still looks pretty. It looks something that you would see from like a AA studio, I would say. But at the end of the day, like there's a reason why this game won Game of the Year so many freaking times. I will praise the soundtrack day in, day out for like the rest of my life. Yeah. That shit was, that was peak.
Yeah.
The combat is amazing. The story is, I would say, a little contentious for some people because, you know, the hook is very strong at the beginning, but I think keeping it going is something that you just have to personally invest yourself into. Like, do you like these characters? Do you like this world that they set up? And if outside of that first hook, if you're not sold on it, then I could see it being a struggle from like a narrative perspective. But overall, Expedition 33 is definitely very, very good. It's definitely top 5 for games of last year. Not number 1 for me personally, but somewhere within my top 5.
I think that's fair. Like I basically agree with everything you just said. You know, just the music, the gameplay, like, you know, it's a reason why people like it so much. You know, like people aren't just like, oh, this game is so good for no reason, right? Like people have been saying it was so good since it came out because it is really good. You know, like that's just how it is. You know, I think it's kind of, you know, whenever the Game of the Year stuff came out, it was winning all these nominations. Then, you know, actually won all those awards. You know, people got really mad. Was this actually worth the hype? And, you know, I feel like you should be the judge of that. But, like, yes, it is a good game at the end of the day, right? So
yeah, like no matter what other people say, if you want to see if something is good, just try it out for yourself, whether it's a game, movie, TV show, etc. Because, you know, I feel like basing your opinion off of other people, it's not really gonna validate your opinion, obviously. So yeah, getting into spoilers. Last time I was towards the end of Act 2, as much as I thought I was like, I think I'm at the end of Act 2. I don't really know. So yeah, the last 2 fights within Act 2, it's Rainer and then the Paintress. Yes. And those fights were fucking insane. I was like stuck on them for like several hours.
Yes. The Paintress is very hard.
Yes, the Paintress is extremely difficult. I think I was fighting her for at least 2 hours, but
yeah, she's the hardest fight in the game in my opinion. Like I think so, because you don't get the damage cap unlock until you beat her. So
yeah, and it was just such a difficult fight. I was like, what the hell is going on? But I finally got through it, and right after that, they show you like, I guess like the big reveal is like, oh yeah, like this like world that we've been living in has been all made up. And then we go back into the real world with Mael. I forget her real name, but
Mael, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I forget her real name too. It's been a couple months.
Yeah. So we're back into the real world with her, and it's kind of revealed that like the paintress is her mom, Rainer is her dad, and then Verso is her brother that died in the fire that also scarred her and lost her voice. So she's like living on this life that she feels like is not worth living, and that's why she finds being inside of the painting is worth it. And we get to see that played out throughout the rest of the last act. You know, Verso comes back, all of the other characters come back after they literally just got vanished. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this shit is crazy. But I was kind of taken aback by like that twist, because it's like, you know, the paintress is done and everything, and as we were going back to Luminaire, I was like, what is gonna happen here? Because like you obviously told me about like something's gonna happen, and I had no idea. So when that twist happened, I like actually legit took like a few days to like soak that shit in, because I was like, do I actually like this twist? And like I could see what they were doing. I think at the end of the day, I do like it, because when you play out through the rest of the game, it's like, okay, yeah, like it all makes sense. Like the way that these characters are dealing with grief, they're all dealing it with different ways. You know, the mom is getting herself lost within this painting. The dad's trying to pull her out. And then Mael is also dealing with grief in her own way, where she feels like her life in the real world is not, you know, worth it, because it's like she can't talk, she can't do anything that she was able to do before, but she can do everything that she wants to do within this world. And that leads into the ending that I picked, you know, when it's like you defeat that final boss, which was like also like pretty goddamn tough. Not as tough as the paintress, but when the second phase hits for like the actual true final boss, dude, the music was so fucking good. I was like, holy shit. And then I would get distracted, and then I'm like losing like my rhythm and everything. That happened like 5 times. I was like, oh fuck, I gotta like lock it and like not like get lost in the sauce with the soundtrack, because like it was honestly such a fucking amazing piece.
It's a very, very good soundtrack
that they transition into. I'm just like, okay, yeah, like lock it. Let's fucking finish this game. So when you have to pick between Verso or Mael, you know, like Act 3 really changed my perspective on like the entire narrative, like I said, because that's when you fully realize that like the story is about grief and like how you deal with it. And I was like, I can't pick Mael. I'm not gonna pick Mael and like fight Verso. I think Verso, even though he's like fake, right? Like he's making more valid points about like you need to like face the world and like face like, you know, the grief or like whatever like trauma problem that you're going through, because this is your life and you have to live it to the fullest extent, which I think everyone could like relate to a certain degree, you know, no matter where you are in your life, whether you're like us, like 27-year-olds, or you're younger, like 20s, or even older, you know, 30s, 40s, whatever. Like you just have to move on with your life and try to do what you can to see the sunrise tomorrow, right? And that's why I picked Verso. And even though like the ending is very somber, I think that was obviously like the point of it. Because I think if I picked Mael, I'm like, this is like choosing, you know, saving Chloe within Life is Strange, you know, like that's like a very, very far off comparison for like, for like RPG fans. But like, if you know, you know, because it's like, that doesn't seem like the proper ending for like a game like this, because everything is pointing to like, you just need to go back to like the real world. And like, Mael is obviously a main character, and we've been following her, and she's been like the huge voice within this game. So I can see why some people picked her, but I think the messaging is just about like, just live your life, do what you can. Not everything's going to be all rainbows and sunshines. We're going to deal with hardships, and we're just going to have to get through them.
Dude, you fucking nailed it so hard. I was just like, holy shit. I didn't have to bring up anything. You literally said everything I was going to say, literally the same brain cell. Yeah, literally everything you said was what I was going to say regarding like the ending. You know, I couldn't say it in my initial when we first talked about this, like back in like May or something, because I didn't want to spoil everything. But yeah, I did the exact same thing. Like, you know, that twist is the thing that kind of broke a lot of people, if you like it or you don't like it. You know, I saw it exactly how you did, was like as a whole story about grief now. You know, it started as a story about vengeance to get back at the paintress and avenge all these people that have fallen. But then at the end, you learn it's a more personal tale about grief and how this family is dealing with it. You know, some people, you know, that post-apocalyptic story is just more interesting. But I think they twist it enough in a way that it makes the rest of the game feel like good, right? Like to me, it doesn't feel like it betrays anything. It just adds to the whole how messed up Mael was and how messed up this whole family was. To like all this world got so twisted and stuff, you know. So, and as you progress through the game, you know, you get to learn more about each of the characters and how everything is affecting them. And even though they're not real, they do feel real. And that kind of adds into that final decision you have to make as well. And just like you, I was going to bring up the fucking Life is Strange comparison as well. Where it's like, it does feel like Bay or Bay ending, where it's like, yes, you know, getting with Chloe, like that feels right, but also isn't. Like, it is technically the bad ending. And with this, like, technically being in this fake painted world is also like bad, you know, like Mael isn't moving on, she isn't learning from her grief, and she's just gonna die like in this painting as well. Like, she's gonna just become like this like disfigured person forever, like in the painting, instead of moving on. Also, it kind of like goes against what Verso himself wants to do. Even though this is a fake Verso, you know, there's parts of him that is still real from the real world that Mael, you know, obviously made into you know, this fake version of him. And throughout the game, like, no one really listens to Verso the whole time. It was either like they were trying to make decisions for him like throughout the whole game, and I feel like this is the first time he had like the right, you know, he could make his own path forward, even though it's not fucking him, right? So yeah, that's why I personally really like that ending a lot more. You know, I like how somber it is. Like, obviously, like, there's some characters that are very upset about you like basically killing all of them or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's like a story about grief and moving on. And I think that ending is just like perfect the way they did it. It just made me really, really enjoy the game a ton. Even if you're not like super into that twist, I think the way they really like molded it together towards the end is great. You basically know everything I want to say. I can't really add any more. I'm really glad you got all of that as well.
What can I say, bro? I'm a gamer. I like playing games. I could pick up on the subtext and the things that are going on. You know, I did very little research going into the game, obviously, and I only looked up, there was like 2 endings literally right before we started recording. I was like, I did pick like one of the endings. What was the other ending? It's like, okay, like you're just going to be stuck in this world forever. And like the story was honestly very beautiful, and I was extremely taken aback by it because obviously, like I said, like the hook and how it starts, the world that we are in, it feels very real and it's such a good setup. But then when we get to that final second, you know, that second part of the game, and then we get into the epilogue, as they call it, it's like, oh shit, like this is what the game is really about, and they nailed it. Gameplay, I mean, like it is just, like you said, Damian, it is fucking Mario and Luigi on crack. Like it is still so much fun. Like I mentioned, the bosses with Rainer and the Paintress were just fucking tough as nails. And then the final fight with Rainer, obviously, again, super duper hard. And the soundtrack continuously amazed me. One thing that I was lost about was the Lumina points, because I was kind of just adding them to my party. And then after I beat the Paintress, that's when I learned about them. And I was like, oh yeah, I could have these extra perks to my characters. I was like, fuck, I could have like, you know, saved
like
probably some time. Yes.
Yeah.
The Pictos, because, you know, I didn't know that once you have those equipped and you fight 4 times with them, then you could put those onto your other characters depending on how many points they have. I felt like the game didn't explain that to me. Maybe I missed it. Maybe it was something that I just wasn't paying attention to. That happens a lot when I play RPGs, admittedly. But this is something that I found on Reddit that people were also confused about. They were like, what the fuck is this shit? So I think that was like one of like the many like customization things that you could do within Expedition 33 that I just wasn't explained about or educated enough on just from the game itself. Like I said, maybe I missed something. Maybe there's something that I just skipped over, but I felt that was something that could have been a little bit, you know, shoved in my face more.
I think they tell you in the beginning, but it's like an in-universe explanation. Like, I don't think they tell you like what the fuck it actually means or anything. You know, I was able to pick it up right away because it's basically just materia from Final Fantasy VII, like the same way it works. Except, you know, in this game you have to like battle 4 times to like unlock it for everyone. And then with the Lumina, I think it was the Lumina points or whatever the fuck, that basically acts as your capacity to add stronger Pictos to your characters. And that's basically how you make really strong builds. Like like one of my favorite ones was just adding every damage one I can to my L. And then I add, there was like the roulette one. So it's like either do 200% more damage or like 0% more damage or something. And I was able to like one shot the super secret final boss or secret boss in the game. He's very hard. And I was able to just one shot him because I did that cheesy shit. So yeah, like you could do a lot of crazy stuff with the Pictos. And that's basically the RPG mechanics of the game. So even if you suck shit at parrying or dodging, like I kind of was, you can just kind of break the game that way. And it was a ton of fun. But yeah, I do think they don't explain those systems very well. And I also think the UI isn't the best at displaying that information. Like when you go to the Picto screen, it's just a giant list of shit. And you can categorize them by offense or defense, but it still kind of looks not great. So I think they could have done a better job at like sort of cleaning up like the UI and better explain the Picto system, because it is very important to like actually do more damage in this game. So yeah.
Because I was struggling on the fucking Paintress. I was like, dude,
she is hard.
I'm fighting this bitch for like 2 hours. Like, come on, like let's get this over with, you know? So yeah. But you know, I was able to do it without it, you know, just as a little tiny badge of honor, if you will. But yeah, Expedition 33 is great. You know, I already recommended it to those that didn't want spoilers, but you know, if you are listening to spoilers and you still haven't played it, go play it. It's fucking great.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good game.
All right, so let's talk about Fallout Season 2. We got episodes 5 and 6. As the non-Fallout enjoyer or someone who has yet to play any of the games, you know, these 2 episodes were fucking great. Once again, I think we only have like 2 episodes left or something like that. We got a few lingering off for the rest of the season, but yeah, I mean, we are just continuing this train of just these great, awesome characters. We got Cooper Howard. He is the ghoul. And I believe within episode 4, he was knocked off onto that. No. In episode 5, he is knocked off onto the pole. And then episode 6, that's when we pick it back up with him. But yeah, you know, just more character development for him. I think episode 5 really was like his episode. It really explained a lot more of what happened before the war, and I really like that stuff. We got to see, I believe it was the fake Robert House, and I was like, oh shit, like there were actually like 2 different actors playing there. So I think that was really neat. And you know, we get to see Lucy do a little bit more of chaotic things. You know, she kills that shopkeeper and, you know, does some unhinged things where it's like, oh yeah, you know, I guess I'm going to fucking shoot the ghoul out of this window and then we'll just deal with the consequences after that, you know, because he was bringing her to her father because that was his deal with him, I guess, which was kind of confusing in that moment because I was like, when the fuck did he do that? Like, you know, like that sort of deal. Maybe they'll explain it. Maybe they won't. But.
Yeah. I think he was more like just like he was going to bring it to her to like get, because she wanted to go find her dad to bring him to justice or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the ghoul probably was never like going along with that. Maybe he just wanted to use her the whole time to like be able to like see, because now we know that he knew Hank before the war started. Mm-hmm. So he would know who that is. So it's like, okay, I know, you know, where my wife and daughter are being kept. That's what I was gathering from that. So.
Okay. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense. But yeah, you know, so far so good. I can't wait to see where the rest of the season goes.
Yeah. So, that was last. I think episode 5 was like my favorite so far. We learned a lot of like really cool stuff. You know, with all the you know, I think like Cooper Howard is like one of my favorite Fallout characters now. Like, both his pre-war and like, you know, nuclear war ghoul like persona. Like both of them are just so good. Like Cooper Howard is like so over his head on what he wants to do. Like he wants to do the right thing, but he's just like a movie like star, right? Like he's not like some secret agent. Like he was obviously a soldier, but like he's not like, you know, he's not built for this shit. And he's trying to like solve this big conspiracy that could end the world. And then as the ghoul, he's just like this, you know, broken man that's just trying to find his you know, wife and daughter in this like awful place. So yeah, he's definitely as becoming one of my favorite characters within like the whole series. It's really great because, you know, every pre-war cutscene, every pre-war scene we see is always great. You know, like I said, Mr. House is using like a body double the whole time. I remember people saying like, because I think they showed the fake Mr. House in the last season, and people say, oh, that doesn't feel like him. And then we cut to this season where we see the real Mr. House, and he basically acts exactly how he acts in New Vegas. It's really good. And it, you know, it also goes more into character with him not wanting to start the war either, because that doesn't make any sense, because, you know, he's all about living. He wants to live forever, gather a bunch of information. You know, he's one of those guys. So it wouldn't make sense for him to start the war to begin with. And we also learned that Voltec isn't going to start the war either, which I know a lot of people were upset about like that decision because capitalism causing the war is stupid or whatever, even though it's like, I mean, it makes sense either way. But regardless, it looks like Voltec and Mr. House aren't involved in launching the nukes. It's going to be probably the Enclave, which are, if you don't know what the Enclave are, I believe they're the main villains in Fallout 2 and definitely 3. They're basically like super nationalist Americans that want to like, reset the world and, make America like...
That was teased at the end of 6, right? Because my girlfriend was talking about it. She was like, yeah, that's like the Enclave. And I'm like, aren't they just like fascists? I was like...
Yes. Yeah, so in the post-war stuff, they wanted to sort of control the wasteland and make it into basically like dictatorship or something. And then I guess pre-war, I didn't know too much about them pre-war, but I guess they were acting like sort of like Illuminati-esque like sort of government, like a shadow government that's like sort of like manipulating the scenes to like make this war happen, probably so they could reshape the world to be in their own image or something. So yeah, that's basically what we learned about the whole pre-war stuff in that episode. And then, like we said before, Lucy, she's going more towards not the dark side, but she's starting to try to find who she is. She's starting to steal shit. Even though she did kill that shopkeeper, which, he was a bad guy. He killed the other shopkeeper, so it's fine. She took the power fist, so that was cool to see as well. She's struggling to be like, stand for her own morals, but also like not lose herself in the same time. But it's getting harder as she's forced to make more difficult decisions as the show continues. And obviously, that episode ends with her just punching the shit out of the ghoul onto the thing, which is like, holy shit. So that was a crazy way to end episode 5. And then we go to episode 6, where we learn more about the mind control chip with Lucy's dad, and Lucy's dad trying to manipulate Lucy and being like, hey, like, the wasteland fucking sucks. Here's the mind control chip that makes everyone better, but obviously they have no free will anymore. Yeah. And, the way he's manipulating Lucy is great. He has like the NCR and Legion soldier right next to each other. Obviously they're going to kill each other because they hate each other. And then she activates the chip, making them be like, hey, what's going on, neighbor? Right. So I think that sort of manipulation is just making Hank, because he's a cool character because he seems like comic relief and like kind of like a stupid villain, but he is like really smart and like knows exactly how to like manipulate people to doing what he's doing, right? So I do find that pretty interesting as well. Also, I totally forgot about in the last episode about the FEV. Holy shit! So Norm's thing. Sorry, there's so many plot lines in this fucking show. Norm's thing. He found about the FEV, which is the Forced Evolutionary Virus, and this is what makes super mutants, and they're like a big part in basically every Fallout. They basically like are like these big Shrek-looking guys that like kind of wreak havoc throughout the wasteland. So yeah, that is a thing in other Fallout games as well. So he finds out about it and then like knock him out. So, and that's important for episode 6 because we actually do meet a super mutant, which is with the ghoul. He's still fucking impaled on the spike, and then the super mutant comes and rescues him. I think he's voiced by Ron Perlman, which is crazy because he does all the narrations of the older Fallout games. So it's cool they got him to voice the super mutant. So that's really cool. But basically the super mutant was like, hey, join me and kill all the humans. And the ghoul's like, fuck that. And then he knocks him out. So so it's going to be cool. I don't know if the super mutant stuff is going to be more for next season because we only got 2 episodes left. So I think they're going to deal with the Mr. House stuff and Hank stuff. And then like they're going to do that super mutant FEV stuff for the next season. I feel like they cram it all into the next 2 episodes. That feels a little too much, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
And then, we like go more pre-war stuff about Cooper Howard. He drugged Hank to get the cold fusion himself. But it was like inside of him, so his wife had to do it for him. So we're gonna see if she comes to help or not help him. Obviously, we know how all things end anyway, but I guess we'll see when it actually happens. And the last bit, Dogmeat comes in. He gets Maximus and I forget his other name, the other ghoul's name, to get the ghoul, and then they're gonna team up together in the next episode, which is something we haven't seen in quite a little bit. I think the last time we saw them together was like towards the end of season 1. So it's gonna be cool to see their dynamic and how it changes with the cold fusion. So yeah, so far so good. I mean, I've been really liking the season a lot. A lot of good fan service. Now they're getting more into like the weeds about like different conspiracy stuff. Like again, I know people were mad about the whole Vault-Tec thing, but it looks like that isn't really the case anymore. And I also just really like Cooper Howard, his whole family dynamic, because His wife's character also has just like a ton of crazy complex stuff to her.
Yes.
Being like, she obviously wants to save her family, but also that costs like 1 billion people their lives with this war. But everyone's going to die anyway. She's just like, well, I might as well secure their safety, right? But she's still complicit in starting the war to begin with. So yeah, a lot of really interesting stuff. I really like episode 5 a ton. Episode 6 is really good as well. And I've just been really enjoying the series a lot.
Yeah, episode 6, I'm, just you talking about it just reminded me that, Barb had like such a huge part of this episode, and we actually got to see in terms of like, I guess, a day in her life of like what she's going through as she's like, oh shit, I'm gonna like blow up the world. Because I think before this episode, I think everyone just assumed that like she's fucking evil. Like she just wants this shit to happen. She wants everyone to die. But we see that it's a lot more complicated than that. And her and Cooper have like that little argument where it's like, would you kill everyone to save me and your daughter? And it's like, well, that's exactly what he's fucking doing right now, right? He is the ghoul. He is going around this wasteland and just killing everyone and trying to figure out where his family is. So, there's some irony in that. And then, just freaking what else? The freaking scene with Lucy and Hank, like you said, like him manipulating her in such a way where you can tell that like there's obviously like 2 different factions here. And if all of those devices go down, she knows what will happen. She knows that they're just going to fucking kill each other because they are just not going to be civilized. They will not like each other. And, I think in life, you don't have to like everyone, right? Like that's just a known thing, but she's been so cooped up within the vault and, like this sort of sheltered life that now that she's out here and everyone's kind of like ruthless and fucking blood hungry and shit. It's like, well, how are we going to make that organically? You're not, and I could see why Hank is doing it, but at the same time, like it's fucked up because it's like they actually have no free will and they don't know what they're doing or don't want to do what they're doing. It was just such a interesting scene to see how Lucy would navigate that and just see Hank like, just like arrest me, we'll go, we'll do what you want. And it's like, well, he obviously has thought this 10 steps ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it makes him a really compelling character as well. Like I said, he seems like a bumbling idiot, but he really does know what he's doing, and he really knows how to manipulate Lucy to exactly what he wants her to do to begin with. So,
yes,
really cool character they made there. So.
Okay, so now we will get into the bit of the news. Before we get into the large chunk of gaming stuff, we got 2 Star Wars things here. So first up, Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. This is from the team that did Star Wars The Clone Wars, and they are making a Maul spin-off series, and this looks fucking phenomenal. I mean, honestly, I think they should have been doing more of this stuff sooner rather than later. I know they did the Bad Batch, and then they had those Tales of the Star Wars sort of, episodes, sort of, just to like tie in other stories featuring Ahsoka and Anakin and a couple of other characters. But I mean, more Darth Maul, I'm all for it. I think that he is one of the best parts of Star Wars, The Clone Wars, just to see how he returned and how he survived him getting sliced in half because, Star Wars fans are fucking stupid and they don't necessarily understand or watch everything. So they're like, well, but what happened here within episode 1? I thought he died. And it's like, well, obviously he didn't. They brought him back like years ago. So it's going to be cool to see him back in action and to see where this story will take him. Honestly, if it's all just like aura farming and just like cool fucking scenes, I'm down for it. But, if there is like a compelling narrative to it, that's cool too.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not really like caught up with the whole Clone Wars thing. I really need to get on that. Mm-hmm. I do know about Darth Maul though. Like I know he became a really big character like within the universe after the events of episode 1. Mm-hmm. And people like love like what they've done with him over the past few years. You can say whatever they want about all the other characters' fates and maybe how things got all messed up or whatever, but like Darth Maul has always been like a really interesting character to a lot of people. So it's honestly shocking he hasn't gone like his own show for this long because he's been such a fan favorite for so long. And yeah, like it looks great. Like the animation looks really good. Maybe moving the plot forward a bit with Darth Maul himself. It seems like everything like a Star Wars fan would really want from like sort of like the Clone Wars era of this show or of this universe, I guess. Yeah. It looks good. I really need to fucking like watch Clone Wars. Yeah, I've been meaning to do it for so long.
The other bit of news is that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down as Lucasfilm president, and we got Dave Filoni and Lewin Brennan, hopefully I said that right, they will be taking over as the new president. She will still be acting as executive or just producer on Mandalorian Grogu and the Star Wars Starfighter films, while working as a independent producer elsewhere, sort of as like a contractor. So, yeah, I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, she's been with the Star Wars brand for a very, very long time. She's been there for the highs and lows of the Disney era of Star Wars, and I think that she's done the best that she could in terms of making the films, the TV shows as good as possible. She's obviously had some hits like The Mandalorian, and then she's also had some stinkers like, Solo not doing so well theatrically. Besides me and like maybe a few other people that actually generally like that film, she's had a very long tenure at the company, and I'm glad to see that, she's stepping down on her own terms, even though it feels like every other week the goddamn Star Wars fans are just like, fucking Kathleen Kennedy, step down. And it's like, she's not doing as bad as I think a lot of people thought she was.
Yeah. With Star Wars, people like to blame a lot of people, like George Lucas, with the prequels, her with like the whole sequel stuff, I guess. And even Dave Filoni gets a lot of shit nowadays. I'm not like, none of them are perfect. Like they're all going to make issues, but like, Star Wars is such a big thing, and there's so many creators at this point. It's kind of hard to like point a single finger, I guess, at this point. But I feel like the MCU feels a lot more unified. Obviously, there's still like you have different directors doing different movies, and that's always going to impact the quality of the project. But for Star Wars, it always feels like this huge thing where there's not like a singular storyline. People are really going for it, just kind of doing whatever. Those are bad things like Andor, which is like fucking incredible.
Yes.
And then you have things like Mandalorian and Grogu, which probably won't be incredible. Like these two things exist in like, I guess the same universe, but like they also aren't like, there's a bunch of different hats in here, a bunch of different names, I don't think it's going to matter in the long run, but who knows? Maybe David Filoni is going to have more of a Kevin Feige approach to Star Wars nowadays, which I don't know if it's honestly even the best approach for Star Wars. I think Star Wars is at its best when they're just doing stuff.
Exactly.
Because like I said, Andor is it's so good. I don't even know if this is true, but Dave Filoni is like, oh, I don't like Andor. I really don't know. I don't think that's true that he said that, but that was coming off on Twitter a lot. I'm like, I think he said he liked it though, but whatever. Regardless, I guess we'll see how it goes. I mean, Star Wars is in such a weird place right now where there is like a lot of good projects, but there's also a lot of stinkers. It's been very mixed bag. So we'll see if they can make it more consistent. But either way, I'm just going to enjoy the good Star Wars stuff and ignore the bad ones. And that's it. So
yeah, as long as they're not burning through money and not making stuff as fast as they were when Disney first got Star Wars. I think they wanted to make like a Star Wars film every year, and obviously people got very sick of that very fast. And now it's like we haven't had a Star Wars film in a while, and now the next one is Mandalorian Grogu, unfortunately. But hopefully that one's at least watchable. Hopefully it's at least fun, but we'll see, because I think the Mandalorian train has kind of sailed in a sense, because it lost a lot of goodwill when they did that season 2 ending, and then they kind of brought back Mando and Grogu so fast within that Boba Fett show, by the way, which wasn't even fucking, a Mandalorian season. So, you go from season 2 to 3, it's like, how the fuck are they back together? And it's like, oh, you got to watch the Boba Fett show. That's fucking annoying. But, hopefully whatever happens for Star Wars, under this new leadership, there's some clear, concise plan. Because I think a common theme within the Disney era of Star Wars is that there's not a lot of planning happening. For example, the sequel trilogy, and a lot of that wasn't planned. They were kind of just making those movies as they went. And, if there's like a clear creative vision behind what's to come, I think that'll have people very excited. Because if you plan ahead, that means you actually know where the pieces are going to fall into place.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see what Disney does with Star Wars moving forward, because it does seem their brand is like kind of having like just fatigue at this point, so they really need to rejuvenate this fucking series. I think Andor was enough for me to be like, yeah, I love Star Wars, but yeah, I guess we'll see. Yeah. Alrighty, so next up we got some RE Requiem. It's hard for me to say, so I'm just gonna say RE9 because I can't say ours.
Yes.
Showcase. So we got Leon and Grace gameplay. We get to really see like how this works. Basically, you just swap between Grace and Leon throughout certain segments of the story. So Grace controls a lot like either Ethan or I guess like RE2 Leon and Claire, where your ammo is very scarce. You gotta like crawl around places. You gotta carefully manage your ammo. Very much like RE7 and RE2. While RE4 is very much inspiration for the Leon segments where you're able to do even more crazy stuff. You can obviously do your roundhouse kick again, but now you could like do like fancy ass dodges and execute them and like go crazy. You can steal their weapons now. It looks incredible. And both segments just look really good. My only concern is how they're going to blend them together, because I think I would prefer it if it was a split campaign instead of a like a big one together. So it would have been like, oh, you just play all of Grace's stuff and then you do a whole playthrough as Leon, right? I think mixing them together is going to be hard to really pace it correctly, because I go back to something like, I'm not saying it's going to be like this, but like Spider-Man, right? With Spider-Man, the MJ segments, right? Like, people are having a good time playing as Spider-Man, doing all this action, and then you go really slow with MJ, right? So I wonder if it's going to be sort of that same situation with this game. Probably not as much, but, something similar to that. So I wonder how Capcom is really going to mold that together and make it feel cohesive as one single campaign. But from what they're showing, all the individual parts look amazing. Like, the game looks great. Leon segments look super fun. Grace's segments look like terrifying, and just the parts of like RE2 and 7 that I really like a lot.
Yes.
So like, just looking at it like that, I'm like, yeah, it looks great. I just wonder how they're going to really combine it all together to make like a cohesive like package,
Yeah, you're just curious in terms of the execution, which is fair, you know, because I think them combining both of them into one story, I kind of like, I think the dual campaign works to a certain degree, but I think it is very old school and old fashioned. And, if you still like that, that's fine. But I think just having it as one campaign will hopefully work. Like you said, you're going to be swapping from like fucking Leon chainsawing a zombie into Grace like shitting her pants trying to sneak around some guy with like one bullet. That does like a fuck ton of damage, by the way. I was like, what the hell? That's only one bullet. And then she like knocked out 2 zombies at once. I was like, all right, cool. And then she has some other stuff. Like, you can take the fucking zombie guts and like make ammo and like...
Oh, yeah. You can make like this like virus thing and they like fucking explode. That's really cool.
And then they can also explode. I'm like, what the hell is happening? So it seems like that they're making her gameplay not necessarily more action oriented, but just giving her more tools to not be completely helpless, because when you are swapping from Leon to Grace, it does look like a very polar opposite thing, but I think it can work. It'll just bring up that sort of tension of like, oh shit, I'm swapping to Grace. Fuck. But when you're playing as Leon, you could probably ease up a little bit. You know that you got this handled because you're playing as fucking Leon S. Kennedy. Yeah. There's another thing that they showed off very quickly is that you could switch between a first and third person. This was something that they revealed when they first announced the game, but you could have it toggled for just Grace or just Leon. So what I think the setup is going to be for a lot of people is probably going to be first person for Grace and then third person for Leon, because we all want to see Leon kick ass,
Yeah.
But maybe some people will do both third person, or maybe even like the very rare people will do both first person as well. So I love that customization. I am playing through RE4 Remake right now, and there is a lot of accessibility options there. So I am expecting RE9 to have that same sort of fleshed out tool set that you're gonna sort of be able to mess around with. But yeah, Resident Evil 9, it just looks phenomenal. I'm glad that we got some extended gameplay of Leon and Grace, because, we kind of just knew about like vaguely what was going to happen here. But now that we see them both fully in action, I think that this is going to be like everything that I would want from the game and then some.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. I'm very excited for this game when it comes out at the end of February. So, not too much more time to wait for this one. And, it could be a really early Game of the Year contender, depending on how it turns out.
Next game we got here, next announcement is Life is Strange Reunion. They did a full-on live stream of this because last podcast we talked about, hey, there was a leak, Life is Strange Reunion, this might be the next game. And then I guess Square Enix and Deck 9 caught wind of this. They're like, oh fuck, well, I guess we'll just officially reveal it for ourselves, which is fair, because when stuff gets leaked, it sucks no matter what it is. So you might as well just come out with it officially as soon as possible. And they did this little live stream show to show more of the game as well. It's going to be dual protagonist setup. You got Chloe and Max both playable. Max has her rewind powers and Chloe has her backtalk mechanic from Before the Storm. But yeah, and then Rihanna DeVaris, hopefully I said that right, they will be returning to voice Chloe. They played them in Before the Storm. Ashley Birch will not reprise her role. She was not asked to return, and she said that Max and Chloe will always have a special place in my hearts. This is quote unquote the big finale for Max and Chloe, their Max and Chloe saga, if you will. So I'm assuming Square Enix and Deck Nine are being like, this is the last time we are using these characters. Please do not ask us to bring them back, even though they are like the central protagonists of this series. The game will retail at $40. There is a $60 deluxe edition, which comes with the digital soundtrack, comic, and a couple of other goodies. Then there is a $100 collector's edition, which comes with a bunch of other stuff, a vinyl, Polaroids, etc. that is exclusive to the Square Enix store. And if you want just the collector's edition contents, it is exclusive, once again, to the Square Enix store and only available to those that live in North America, and that is $60. And the game is coming out very, very soon, March 26, 2026. Yeah. We are legit on the day we are recording this, 2 months away from the game coming out. So yeah, Damian, what are your thoughts before I dive in deeper?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's good. Like, double exposure, I don't hate it as like other people do. I think double exposure is really mixed in the fandom. I really think it just depended on who you pick, like what ending you pick in the first game.
Yes.
I think if you pick Arcadia Bay, I think, which we both did, we were both like sort of just okay with how the game was going. If anything, I thought they handled like the whole Chloe thing being gone really well. It was just sort of the later parts of double exposure that, have more issues with. But if you did pick Chloe, the whole game is just kind of like a slap in the face for you, right? Because like, I didn't do this. I didn't choose this. What the fuck is this, right? So, it was always going to be hard to make like an actual sequel to Life is Strange because you have to address that. And it seems like this game, they are doing that. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Cause, I didn't hate double exposure. I thought it was all right, but, there's a lot of people that don't, and, the ending does get weird. So we'll see how they handle all this in the sequel. Regardless, it's going to be cool to see Chloe again, how they handle that, rewind powers being back. That's really cool. So, we'll just see how it goes. Sucks that Ashley Birch wasn't even asked to be, Chloe again, but I think, the replacement from Before the Storm still works. Like I think they still sound great, so I think it's fine. But yeah, I guess we'll just see how it goes. I know there's been a lot of things with Deck Nine. Like I think they're like laying off a bunch of people, and like they were, like when they were making this game, they were like laying off people as they go. So like, our department gone, y'all done? Are you gone? So we'll see how this game goes. Because everything is kind of pointed to being a disaster, but we'll see. I'm gonna play regardless. We're both gonna play regardless because Life is Strange is the end of the Max and Chloe arc apparently. So I gotta see it through, man. So we'll see.
Yeah, we are big Life is Strange fans, Life is Strange enjoyers, and Double Exposure was definitely a huge mixed bag. I think at the start, for the first 3 chapters, that was like really solid. Like I really liked where they were going with Max's character. Bringing her back was obviously going to be a huge risk, but I think they were doing it very tastefully. To those that picked the Arcadia Bay ending, like you said, because if you pick Chloe, it's like, yeah, we broke up off screen and like she's just not in the game, like at all. And you could go through the text messages, you could see where their problems were, where she thought that Max was using her powers to like manipulate her and all of this other stuff. It was like, this does not fit Chloe's character whatsoever. I feel like Chloe just wouldn't give a fuck, and she just thinks that Max's powers are cool, which brings into my other point where like, yeah, we have the rewind powers back in Reunion, which is like a kind of weird thing for like Max's character, because when she was younger, it was like, yeah, like these powers, they fucking destroyed everything, and like that's the reason why Arcadia Bay might have disappeared, because she was messing around with time so much. So why are we bringing it back here? Because it's like the best fucking gameplay mechanic in the entire series. So it's like, what the fuck else are we gonna do? The double exposure thing was cool, it was like a nice sort of a nice variant of that power that Max has, but it's not the rewind power, right? So, just seeing that come back is going to be cool to play gameplay wise, but I'm still like in the back of my head, like narratively, I'm like, this makes no fucking sense.
Yeah,
but nothing really makes sense within Reunion, because now we got Chloe Price back, which, that's a huge other thing, because I honestly do feel like that Don't Nod's vision for Life is Strange was to just have multiple different characters and these people in their lives, and just see how they deal with these new powers coming into their life. The first game was with Max and her rewind powers. The second game was with Sean and his little brother, and how he was going to mentor him and how he uses those powers. And then Don't Nod just stopped making the games. And then Square Enix was like, we're going to keep making the game. So now they went back full circle back to Max and Chloe, and we're just gonna have to wait and see in terms of how it works, because when I was watching that live stream sort of presentation, I was like, what the fuck are they explaining? Like, how is Chloe back? Like the timelines merge, and it's like both endings, and it's a whole mess of a thing. And I know that when you start the game, because they showed it briefly, where it was like you could choose how your relationships are and like what endings and what choices you made from Life is Strange 1 and also Double Exposure. So, you know, you'll see how Max reacts to those things. But yeah, I am very contentious in terms of how this game is actually going to perform, because people are theorizing that this might be the final Life is Strange game, which, you know, like you said, the Deck 9 layoffs and sort of them saying that this is going to be the big end for Max and Chloe saga. It's like, yeah, this could be the end of Life is Strange as we know it. I know that this is a big moneymaker for Square Enix, but if Deck 9 is gone, I honestly don't see who would they get next to develop these games. Obviously, they're not like super hard to make, and I'm sure don't want to jump back into the Square Enix sort of bubble, because now they just made their own with Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, and they're kind of making their own new universe of those graphic adventure games themselves. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. I do love that it is $40, but that does have me concerned in terms of they don't view the quality of the game as high as like maybe they should. But then again, I know Double Exposure, they were doing a lot of like scummy like pricing with like the DLC and like some other stuff. I know that like if you wanted like Max's cat, that was like a separate thing, and like some other outfits. I was like, yeah, no, you know, that's why I just bought the fucking standard edition. So yeah, you know, hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Like I said, it might be the last Life is Strange game, like in general. So we'll see how it goes. You know, Square Enix has always been like, we keep producing these because they make money.
Yes.
So, but they're not like that attached to it, because why would they be? So that's the only reason why they didn't sell off the IP, because they sold off every other fucking IP they had that wasn't like theirs, except Life is Strange. That was the only one they kept. So, and I know Double Exposure didn't do super well, like not like the other Life is Strange games, like financially or review wise. So we'll see. Either way, it's gonna be nice to see Chloe back. It's going to be nice to get sort of like just one last adventure with like these two characters. Because, you know, regardless, I still thought Max was great to play as again in the Double Exposure. So we'll see a reunion if they can keep up the same way, if their relationship is still fun to go through.
Yeah.
But either way, I will always recommend Life is Strange 1 to like anyone. I think that game is still wonderful, and you know, regardless of what happens in this game, that still wouldn't like detract my opinion on that. So
yeah,
we'll figure it out together on two months from now. So yeah,
at worst, this game is going to be fan fiction at its finest, and then at best, it's actually going to be like a nice, solid conclusion for these characters. But I'm leaning more towards the fan fiction side, so we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got some Nintendo stuff. So the Super Mario Brothers Wonder Switch 2 edition, they released an overview trailer. We got some more information about the multiplayer plaza and the game room plaza. So I believe it's like 11 something mini games you could play locally, and then it was like 6 something mini games you could play online, which is cool. You know, it's kind of weird. Like this, like the big thing about this DLC is the multiplayer stuff. And I don't really care. I don't really care about that. I mean, like, it's cool, but I'm like, just buying it for that is a bit weird. Obviously, they added other stuff that makes it a bit more appealing for someone like me. So they added the Toad Brigade training camp. So this is like a bunch of like challenge missions you could do for each of the levels. That's really cool. I do like that. Yeah. And then you could like unlock some different rewards or something for doing it. So I really do like that a lot. And then there's the Koopalings. This is Koopalings, so you can fight all of them,
we'll
I guess.
Just plop them in there.
Cool thing is that they are going to use wonder effects to actually make the fights different, so they're not just the same fucking fight 7 times. So like Wendy became like a fish or something. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. I don't know if there's like, it looks like there's like, I don't know if there's new levels. Yeah, like hunt them down or some shit. I don't know. It's weird, but sure. And then, so like the last few things they added is Rosalina is going to join the roster. That's really cool. She looks really cool. You could play as the co-star Luma from Galaxy 2, which is just more easy mode. And then if you want easier mode, you have assist mode now, where you don't take damage and no fall damage. At that point, I'm like, why even play the game? But you know, it's good for the younger kids that just want to get through the game. You know, Wonder is so good. Like that is definitely one of my favorite 2D Mario games. I absolutely love that game. So I probably will pick this up just because I want to play more Wonder again. It's been a while. Because that game is just so good. And you know, I do like all these Switch 2 editions they've been doing, even though the pricing and the updates for them are all over the fucking place. Like we got the Animal Crossing one, which is like, I think most of the content is free, but yeah, like pay for the FPS boost or something, or not even the FPS boost. I think it's just a resolution boost. Then you had like the Donkey Kong Country Returns one that came out of nowhere, where you play as Dixie now, and I think
That's
that was
free.
just free.
Yeah, that was just
so
free.
I'm like, I don't fucking get Nintendo's strategy at all with this stuff, but it's still cool. They're adding a bunch of new content for all these Switch 2 versions, and like I said, Wonder is really good. It's $20, comes out March 26th. It's the same day as fucking Life is Strange. But we'll see if it's worth the $20. Probably not, but I'm probably going to pick it up anyway. They also have a bunch of amiibos, like the elephant, the Poplins, Prince Florian. And then you had the talking flower that could like talk to you and shit. You could set him as like an alarm clock and he could just tell you the wrong time, which I think is very funny. So yeah, that's cute. But that's all the Mario Wonder stuff. Again, the game's still great. Probably going to pick this up just because I like Wonder, but I don't think it's going to be like Omega worth it, but we'll see.
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers Wonder is one of the best Nintendo Switch games, period. And the fact that they are releasing a Switch 2 version of it is cool, especially if you haven't, bought it yourself and you have a Switch 2. This is going to be the perfect package to get it in. The Nintendo website doesn't show me the price for the combined package of it, just for like the Switch 2 version.
It might be 70. It would be weird if it's 80.
It could be. It could be 80 because the Switch version is still 60, and then if you're doing that upgrade pack, that's an extra 20. So it's probably gonna be $80, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, this new stuff that they're adding in, I think the mini games are cool. The challenge missions are even better because obviously that's, I think the best part about Super Mario Brothers Wonder is like the challenging platforming levels that they already have built into the game. So the fact that they're adding even more of those is cool. Koopa Lings, plop them in there. I don't care. That's cool. Rosalina joining the roster. That is awesome addition. I love Rosalina. I think that she is one of the better sort of recent additions to Mario's roster. So nice to see her there. Co-star Luma, that's just for like your baby toddler that just wants to play, or like a very small child. Same thing for the assist mode. But $20. I think that this is just Nintendo showing that they know how strong their IP is, and they're like, well, it's a Mario thing. We gotta charge money for it. We'll try to nickel and dime like the most out of you. $20. I'm sure that that's like their strategy for it, because Donkey Kong Country Returns, that's a fucking decade-old game, and they re-released it again on the Switch. So they were like, well, we got this extra stuff. Do you think we could get away with $5? Probably not. We'll just whatever. We'll just drop it in. So that's how I'm thinking, in terms of like Nintendo and their pricing strategy, because, it's always outrageous when they do, release stuff that seems not a whole lot. And then it's like, it's like $20. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'll pay for it. I don't know what the fuck else I'm going to do, because it is DLC. And that's like the tricky thing about pricing DLC is that shit never goes on sale. So
no.
And especially if it's a Nintendo DLC, that's especially never going to go on sale. So, buy it if you want. I might buy it. I might pick it up. We'll see. I might be playing Life is Strange at that point. But
yeah,
if I have the extra time, I will definitely check it out. Speaking of Mario, we got the Super Mario Galaxy Movie Direct, the shortest Direct in the history of Nintendo Directs. This shit was legit not even 6 minutes long, 5 minutes, 19 seconds. But we got to see Yoshi officially revealed. There were a little bits of other things within the footage, such as the frog suit, Birdo, and Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. The guy at Illumination was like, animation is complete. We're now in post-production. So that's a good sign, because that movie is a little less than 3 months away. So, making sure that the movie is all nice and polished to Nintendo's seal of quality. And the film is releasing April 1st, 2026. So, yeah, I just hope that this movie does a little bit more than the Mario movie, because that movie was good, but it was very safe for what it was. It was like a very, bog standard, like kids movie with like all of like the Mario tropes that you would see in there. I think the music choices in that first movie was amazing. And from what we saw within these new clips, once again, amazing, just like remixes of like songs that we've heard before, just with orchestras and real instruments. It just peak. So, I just hope that it just does a little bit more, and it seems like that they're combining a lot of shit from like Mario's history. It is called the Super Mario Galaxy Movie, so obviously Mario Galaxy is going to be a big part of it, but like I said, we saw like the frog suit, we saw some backstory with like Yoshi and Baby Mario and Baby Luigi, so yeah, I'm excited for it, and I hope that it does, like I said, a little bit more than what was done previously.
Yeah, I agree. Like the last movie, like I'll say like the Sonic movies are better. Just, I'm a Sonic fan, but also I think that Sonic just has more to grab in terms of like story beats and like, because, Sonic has a lot of like crazy moments that happen in his games. For Mario, if you're not taking from the RPGs, it's mostly is just like, get the princess, right? So it's a bit harder to get from the source material. And that's why I do think Galaxy is the right call, because there's a lot more, I guess, plot in that game, and you could like kind of like just take epic moments from those games or whatever the fuck. It looks like it's taking moments from Odyssey as well, because the little like skeleton guys, they're from Odyssey, so it looks like they're gonna be taking like elements from other games as well, not strictly from Galaxy. But yeah, the first movie kind of felt more like oh, here's all the cool references, look at all the cool references, right? And I enjoyed it. Like I was clapping. I'm like, yeah, I like that. But when I really think back on it, like I don't really remember much from the movie, because it does feel very like, that was it. So yeah, hopefully with this movie there's a bit more, I guess, I don't know, something to latch onto, I guess. Like
a little more sauce to it, A
little more sauce, a little more something. It's Illumination, so not really like, counting on it. Usually like these movies still look great. Like just like graphically, I guess, like they look fantastic. But in terms of writing, I do think they need a bit more in there a bit more substance. There you go. Like just a bit more something. But yeah, still looks good. Yoshi looks good. I'm glad he's probably not going to talk fully. Just say the Yoshi and make the noises. That's all he should be saying. So hopefully he doesn't like start cracking one-liners. I'm like, what is that? So, but yeah, from this trailer, it looks like he was just saying Yoshi. So, that keep him doing that, right?
Yeah, keep him as Groot.
Yeah, keep him as Groot. So, but yeah, it looks great. I'm so excited for it. Coming out April 1st. So I didn't even know it was coming out April 1st. I like forgot about that. So pretty soon too. So excited for that. And yeah, let's just hope it's good. Also, let's hope the post-credit scene isn't like ass like the first movie, because the first movie is all Yoshi hats, but we already saw Yoshi's in the first movie anyway. So yeah, whatever. Alrighty, so more kind of video game movie. Yeah, I guess series.
Yeah.
Sophie Turner is going to be Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider Prime series, and they released a first look, and she looks really good. And there were still people on Twitter that were mad about this, so I don't really get it. To me, she looks like fucking Lara Croft to me, so I'm like, all right, yeah, that looks great. So
yeah,
but people are still mad. So
people are just weird. I do like that.
Go on. Yeah.
That what's it called? Crystal Dynamics is like very strategically like placing Lara Croft and like Tomb Raider like back into the spotlight.
Yep.
Like this, like we got the series, we got the 2 new games coming out, one this year, one next year. She is really making like a huge comeback, and to get Sophie Turner, she's like a pretty big like Hollywood star, I would say. From her time on Game of Thrones to now doing all of this stuff with Amazon, it's like, okay, yeah, like she looks like fucking Lara Croft, and honestly, I don't know how else you would really put it. There have been several other actors who have played the character before, and they've looked just as good as Sophie Turner does, if not better. I think Sophie Turner definitely has like the best, costume for Lara Croft so far. She looks, just like the iconic look from the old PlayStation 1 games. And yeah, I'm excited to see how Crystal Dynamics and like Amazon and everyone on like the Tomb Raider ship right now, how are they going to project her back into mainstream media? Because, I think that we are missing like a really strong female protagonist within gaming.
Yeah, and like you said, they really want Tomb Raider to be on the spotlight again, because Amazon also is like making the new games with Crystal Dynamics, I believe. Like they're publishing it, so it makes sense that they want all of this media swing into it. So like with the show now, the 2 games, one being the remake of the first game, so they really want that Tomb Raider to just be in the spotlight again. Like specifically, like it seems like they want her PS1 persona to be back. Like they want her like, how she was in the more cheesy, campy sort of like look of like the 90s games, right? And I think that's cool. Again, like I said before, I think it makes her stick out a bit more than the reboot trilogy. I'm not saying I don't hate the reboot trilogy or anything. I didn't play any of the Tomb Raider games, so I have no stake in this. I'm just saying I think she just felt more defined when she was more of the PS1 Lara Croft than like the newer ones. Like the newer ones just felt more typical, I guess you would expect from like a AAA like sort of like game character act, while her 90s persona was more like, that's Lara Croft, right? So it seems like they're leaning more into that, even with this like look for Sophia Turner here. So we'll see how that goes. It's cool that they're making such a big push into the Tomb Raider series, since it's been kind of dead for a while, ever since Rise of the Tomb Raider. I believe was the last of the new ones, or Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
It might have been Shadow.
Yeah, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So yeah, it's been quite a while, and Crystal Dynamics seem to have been, really working on these for quite a while. So guess we'll see. I'm also glad they like escaped Square Enix, because Square has always be like, you didn't sell enough copies, even though they sold like a shit ton. So I'm glad to kind of like, I know it's Amazon now and it's not like they're that much better, but still I'm glad to kind of like just doing their thing at this point. So
yeah,
they're
good. Actually getting stuff done, and hopefully the expectations aren't as high as before.
Yeah.
Next bit of news we got here is the top PlayStation Store PS5 games sold in 2025 from Japan versus North America. So I was able to confirm the US/Canada list. I couldn't find this Japan one, but hopefully this guy isn't necessarily bullshitting. There's no community notes on here.
I think he's kind of credible, because I usually see him like post Japanese-esque news. So
like, there's no community notes, so I'm gonna just take it for the truth. But for the US, we got NBA 2K 26, Battlefield 6, GTA 5, EA Sports College Football 26, EA Sports Madden NFL 26, Minecraft, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, Arc Raiders, Ghost Yode, and then MLB The Show 25. Then for Japan, Damian, do you want to list these off?
Yeah, hold on. What's the thing? Oh, there you go. So yeah, for Japan is Monster Hunter Wilds for number 1. Number 2, Elden Ring, Night Rain. 3, Ghost of Yode. 4, Arc Raiders. 5, Minecraft. 6, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. 7, Dynasty Warriors Origin, which is really interesting. 8, Battlefield 6. 9, Dragon Quest 1 plus 2 HD 2D remake, and number 10, Like a Dragon Pirate, Yakuza in Hawaii. So as you can see, Americans and Canada is very ball and gun gamer.
Ball and gun gamer.
The Japan side is very base. So I think it just shows like just the difference in what we consume, like, or what the general audiences consume.
Yeah.
In Japan, they're a lot more willing to like, I guess, play more of these games than Americans, because like NBA, GTA, Grand Theft Auto, not Grand Theft Auto. I guess GTA 5, Battlefield 6. They sell like millions and millions and millions of copies here in America. Like, even if you're a non-gamer, like, someone is playing those, right? Like, someone has an Xbox or PS4 and just plays those games. For Japan, I feel like it's a lot more varied, because like, one, like, their population is smaller. You also account for that. And they're usually, I guess, more core gamers anyway. So they're going to be playing more of these games that you would expect, more, I guess, like, again, core gamers to play. Yeah. Again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. Like, you could play what you want, but I'm still going to make fun of you a little bit. It's sort of like, if you just watch, I'm guilty of this. For movies, right? Like, I basically just watch MCU shit, but also, like, I know that. Like, I'm not being like, all movies suck nowadays. No, it's because I'm just too lazy to go to movie theater, and like, I just watch MCU shit. So sorry. Yeah. But I'm not like complaining about the current state of gaming. I feel like on Twitter, you'll see like, gaming sucks nowadays, and then all they play is Call of Duty. I'm like, play something fucking else then.
Yes.
So, but yeah,
it was so funny. I think it was like earlier this month. I think it was Tarzan. He's like a very prominent League of Legends personality, and he was like, "Yeah, I feel like gaming's been dead. There's like no good games or whatever." And everyone just fucking dunked on him, because obviously he doesn't know shit about games other than League of Legends. He wakes up, he boots up League, and then he like goes back to bed. It's like,
there's always people saying that shit.
Yes,
there's always people that play one game. I'm like, why are you saying this? You only play League. You don't play anything else.
Look. The whole ball and gun gamer meme, like, I just thought that was just like a meme, but like, looking at this chart, I'm just like, holy fuck, it's real. Like, actually, like, people are out here. They are like, the fact that in the top 5, there's 2 EA sports games. We got college football, and then we got Madden NFL football, I guess. It's like, that's in the top 5. With Japan, it's like number 1 and 2. It's Monster Hunter, then Elden Ring. It's like, those guys, they are actually, like you said, core gamers. Like, they gaming. They are playing actual video games. They aren't playing the yearly sports releases, which, like, there's nothing wrong with playing those, but just realize that, like, you don't necessarily know the broader scale of like what's going on within the games industry. I'm not saying that you can't have a opinion on the games industry, but you can't have a strong opinion on it compared to, not to like stroke our ego, but like us, like we are playing like a variety of things every now and then. We don't touch the sports titles. Maybe we should touch them every once in a while, like play them, try them out, see like what's going on there. But like if we're not interested in like fucking American football, then like why are we spending $60 on the newest, Madden NFL game? It really doesn't make sense for us. But anyways, ball and gun gamers, it seems like that this is like an actual like thing that I'm realizing. It's like, oh yeah, it's like like people will buy their PS5 and they will just strictly play guns and ball games. Like that's it. And I'm just like, guys, there's like a fucking mass variety of like other games on the system. I'm sure if like Spider-Man 2 came out last year, this would be somewhere on there, obviously. But I think overall, like a majority of like the US audience is unfortunately ball and gun gamers.
Yeah, I think that's why people always, they give shit to the first party Sony games for being like, oh, why are they so handholdy, or why did they tell you all these mechanics? Like, why don't you just like look with your eyes and see? It's because, you know, there is like a big crossover between these ball and gun gamers and the first party Sony stuff, because this is like probably the only actual real games they play besides those. So this is why they're so like, they want to make sure those people know how to play this game, because that's all they only play is like NBA and stuff. So when you play like Spider-Man, they're like gonna explain like all the stuff, give you hints every now and then. Same thing with God of War Ragnarok, probably why they went so much harder with like Atreus giving you hints and stuff. Is because
Atreus just wouldn't shut up. It's like if you're just roaming around for like 3 seconds, like I think we should go this way. I'm like, dude, shut up, I'm looking.
But you know, it's kind of like the general audience that they want people to like have fun with those games as well. Obviously, there should be a toggle to like turn it off or whatever. But
yes,
you know, that's sort of like the general audience again. I was really surprised Ghost of Yoda isn't on the US list, just because like, you know, usually the big Sony third-party games do it. Oh, is it number 9?
Yeah.
Oh shit, it is. Never mind.
It's number 9.
So
it's all the way at the bottom.
Yeah, should be higher. But you know, So that's what I was saying. Like mostly the first party Sony games do pretty well with that.
Yeah, so. You're right. Because like I'm playing Resident Evil 4 Remake, and you know, back in those days, it was like the crates and boxes, you kind of just had to walk up to them and hopefully they were breakable. Now it's like I'm fucking walking up to every single one that's just painted yellow, because they're just like, hey, this one's breakable, this one's breakable. I'm like, why are they all painted yellow? I don't fucking know. Oh yeah, because the ball and gun gamers might not know that like this is an actual breakable box and you gotta hit it to get more stuff. So yeah, I thought that this was just a fun little thing to discuss.
Yeah, I saw it too. I was just like, Jesus. Alrighty, so now we got some
now
pretty
the fun's
sad
over.
news. Yeah. So yeah, Meta is like exiting VR gaming. So Meta is obviously the Zuckerberg,
yes,
like sort of VR branch of gaming, and all this is going down. So we got our mature, I think that's how you say it, studio. So they did the RE4 VR. Sanzaru is closing down, and Twisted Pixel is also closing down, which is very sad. Oh my god, I don't know how
camouflage.
You say that.
Just say camouflage.
Just camouflage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just say camouflage.
For the Batman Arkham Shadow hit with massive layoffs as well. Only have a handful of employees left. They were going to make a sequel that was in the works with Sanzaru, but no, obviously not anymore. So, yeah, that sucks ass. So, like, Sanzaru, you know, if you didn't know, they made Sly 4. And Twisted Pixel made so much good shit back in the day. They made Explosion Man.
Yep.
They made Comic Jumper. They did so much good shit. I think Maul the Void as well. Like, they did so many great stuff during the Xbox Live Arcade days. And now they went to do VR, and now they're fucking dead. And, you know, Sanzaru as well. That sucks. You know, I think it really shows that VR, I think, is really niche. Like, I don't think VR is ever going to reach the point where it reaches mass audience. Like, unless it's like not as intrusive as possible, because, you know, you gotta put the headset on, you gotta have the wire, you gotta do all this bunch of bullshit. People don't want to deal with that. I think if we could get like AR glasses or something, I think that's like the only way it's really gonna like really take off at this point. Like, it has to be as seamless as possible. Just like sitting down with a controller is very, you know, just, there you go, you just game, right? People don't want to do all the extra steps for VR. So it's just really sad to see them go down, because again, those are some really good studios that are going down, and it sucks that that's just how it is. But yeah, I think we might be seeing like VR just not be a thing that's worth developing anymore, because the PlayStation VR 2 did really bad as well. Like that sold like no fucking copies, and Sony basically never promotes it anymore. So I'm pretty sure like the VR dream for a lot of companies are just dead at this point.
Yeah, you know, if we have Meta Platforms, who is Facebook, you know, Mark Zuckerberg, like you said, they invested so much into VR because Mark really does like that. He likes the virtual reality sort of aspect of social media, and he wanted to really heavily invest into the Meta and the Quest 3, and that's why they bought Oculus all of those years ago. So now that they're exiting VR in favor, I believe, of artificial intelligence, it's like, fuck, man, you know, especially when you have all of these great studios. Obviously, I'm a fucking goddamn Sly Cooper fanboy, so to see Sanzaru Games go down, I'm like, fuck, man, especially when Asgard's Wrath 2, apparently that game was awesome. It was extremely good. extremely good for VR, along with Marvel's Deadpool, Resident Evil 4, and like all of these other games, Batman Arkham Shadow. I heard that was also amazing, even though when that was first announced, people were like, oh, it's a fucking VR game, which like that stigma and that mindset is why VR has a hard time getting into the mainstream, right? Because people don't want to invest into a VR headset, whether it is the PSVR 2 or the Quest 3. It's like hundreds of dollars to like fucking buy one of these things. The Quest is like 300, and then I think the PSVR 2 is like somewhere around that price point as well.
Yeah.
That's practically a goddamn console there. And then you have to buy the games also. Those are digital games. You know, the Meta Quest 3 games, I believe those range between like $40 to $60. That's a completely digital marketplace. Those shits are never going on sale. That's another investment you have to buy. If you get the PSVR 2, you might already have some of those games that have VR capabilities, but they're not going to be as good as the games that are just VR. And even then, they're like very few and far between. So, you know, I really do want to get into VR. I think my brother might have a Quest 3. I don't know exactly which headset he has, but if I really did want to, I could probably just buy some of those games on his headset and then try them out. But it's like, you know, like you said, the whole cumbersome thing of like putting the headset on and like, you know, having those controllers as well and like playing it like that. It's like, you know, it's cool. It's very, very much, like you said, like a niche subgenre of gaming, but I don't think it'll ever reach to the point where it is mainstream because, like I said, we have Meta, we have fucking Facebook, and the fact that they're pulling out after they invested probably like millions of dollars into these studios, these games, the hardware, the research, everything. And they're like, well, we're not going to make games for it anymore. And it's like, you know, Camouflage is still around, but we don't know what they're doing. I believe all of their projects were canceled, and whatever they're doing next is going to be for a new experience or something like that. So, you know, it sucks that, you know, VR is not going to continue because, like I said, Meta, PlayStation, literally those are like the two big names. And like you said, PSVR 2, that's a fucking huge investment. And people, especially on PlayStation, as we saw, ball and gun gamers, they're not gonna fucking buy a goddamn headset to play these other games that are non, you know, balls and guns, if you will. So
yeah, it's very unfortunate. I actually do have a Meta Quest like 2 or something. We got it like a few years ago. And like it's fun, but you know, if you wear glasses like me, it kind of sucks ass.
That's another thing. A lot of people wear glasses, so it's like, how do you break that barrier?
And you can't take out your glasses because it's like when you put on the headset, it feels like I need my glasses because I'm looking like there. It's not like it's like a screen in front of me. Well, it is, but you know what I'm saying. Like you need some visions, and it's like pretty awful to wear glasses while wearing it. So yeah, there's just a lot of little things that aren't like it's just not ready yet. Like I always felt like VR came way too early. And it still feels too early. Like we're not ready for VR yet still, after like maybe 10 years of it existing at this point. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully they could reinvest. If anything, I think Valve will probably be the one to like bring it back with the Index and stuff. But even then they're kind of moving towards the Steam machine and stuff. So I guess we'll see when it actually comes. But either way, still sucks that Sanzaru and Twisted Pixel are both gone. That really sucks. So
yeah.
But it is what it is. You know, this industry really takes a lot.
Some more sad
speaking
news.
of that, yeah.
Yes, so. We got Ubisoft. They are hitting a major company reset. We got 6 games canceled, 7 games delayed, and then 2 studios closed. So the canceled games include Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, a mobile game, and then 4 unannounced projects. And out of those 4, 3 of them were going to be original IPs, and then delayed. It's not clear what was delayed, but one game was delayed from later this year in April to now it's going to come out April 2027. And then closed, we got the Halifax and the Stockholm studios shutting down. So yeah, I mean, Ubisoft have been struggling for a very, very long time, I feel. They have not had a super blockbuster hit in a while, even though I know Assassin's Creed Shadows is a very, very good Assassin's Creed entry. It's still Assassin's Creed, right? Like, there hasn't been something as monumentous as Assassin's Creed 1 on the Xbox 360 and PS3 from Ubisoft, I would say. You know, like they've had all of these other IPs and things rotate in and out. You know, I would say like Watch Dogs as like one of those games, right? Because that was something that people were really, really looking forward to. And then it came out and it was kind of just underwhelming. And I think it was even broken at launch. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, like I think it was 2 Watch Dogs, and I think both of them were like pretty fucked. No, there's 3 of them. Legion. Yeah, so it was Watch Dogs 1, 2. 1 was a disaster, and I think Legion launched pretty badly too. So
yeah. So it has been a very, very long time since like Ubisoft has gotten like a massive W, right? And they've had some pretty, cool projects. Like I said, Assassin's Creed Shadows. I know that they did the, what's it called? Star Wars Outlaws.
The Prince of Persia game was really good. The Lost Crown. But,
yes. That was like a spin-off sort of Prince of Persia game, right? The Star Wars Outlaws games, I believe, was also theirs.
Yeah, Avatar.
Avatar, that recently got DLC, and I hear that DLC
sold
is
really
pretty
well
good.
Afterward, yeah, because everyone watched the movie.
Because we were like, oh shoot, Avatar is like actually pretty cool, but that might be like a little too late for them.
Yeah, I think it is.
And same thing with freaking Star Wars. Like that was like their big, like break, I would say, because that was advertised like the big open world Star Wars game. Ubisoft is very much known for like the open world stuff, and then it came out and it was buggy, broken as shit. People that bought like the super deluxe edition that got them early access, all right guys, you're gonna have to reset your saves. We're so sorry. That's it. I was like, what the fuck? So Ubisoft have not been in the good graces for a while, and it's finally caught up to them, where unfortunately they've had to cancel games, lay off people, and delay several projects. So I hope the best for them, because honestly, I still remember when Assassin's Creed 3 came out, and that happened during Hurricane Sandy, and I was watching our good friend Louis, him playing it, and like that game looked so freaking good, and I just literally right after we got the power back on and like life went back to normal, I was like, yeah, I have to go and get this game. So it's been a while since I've felt that excited about a Ubisoft game. So
yeah, out of all the big studios, like I think Ubisoft always makes me the most like sad, because they have like actually really talented people. I mean, everyone that leaves that studio makes incredible stuff. Obviously Expedition 33, right? That was by 2 Ubisoft people. Dispatch had a bunch of Ubisoft people as well. Same thing with that Badgley the Badger game that's coming out. I think that's also ex Ubisoft devs. And even within them, like a lot of the older Far Cry's and Assassin's Creed games were really good. But even some of the recent games like Rayman Origins, Rayman Legends, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, the 2 Rabbids games, like those games were like incredible. I love like Rayman Origins and Legends, like some of my favorite 2D platformers ever. And I really need to play Lost Crown. But, there's like genuine talent in that studio. It just sucks that it keeps getting like sucked away by all the stupid corporate bullshit that keeps happening within, these games. And, it hurts less when it goes through like Activision or EA, because like most of the time they're just a big publisher. They don't really do anything themselves. Ubisoft kind of works as both. Like it works as like a publisher and like a game developer. And when they do make games, sometimes they're like genuinely like really good. But most of the time they come out as very big, empty, and like underwhelming, right? So yeah, this one does suck. But I do feel like it is for the best that a lot of these talents just leave Ubisoft. Because again, there's some amazing people that work at that place. Like we've already seen what they could do, and like all the amazing games they've made in Ubisoft and out of Ubisoft. So at this point, I feel like they really should just like leave and try to find some other work, because like Ubisoft just seems like a sinking ship at this point. Like they basically have nothing left at this point. I feel like they're just going to have the IPs of Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, and that's it. Like, that's all they're going to be good for at this point. So very unfortunate to see, because Ubisoft has made some amazing games. But if this is the way it's going to go down, that's just the way it goes down at this point. And, we've been seeing it for like years already. Like Ubisoft has just been slowly sinking. But it seems like this year seems to be the big, like, I think they're finally donezo. So, yeah.
Yeah, some other sinkers I forgot. Skull and Bones, X-Defiant.
Yeah, Skull and Bones. First quadruple A game. Yeah. So.
First quadruple A game that no one really played. Like, I played that in the beta or alpha or whatever the hell it was called, and I was like, yeah, it's pirates. Like, it was cool, but I wasn't like hooked in on it kind of thing, and especially paying like full price for it. Holy shit, you know. And then X-Defiant, I think, was just another sort of free to play shooter game that lived on for I think only like a year or so. So. Yeah, they've obviously invested in a lot of money into several projects, and it has just not gone the way for them.
Yeah, I know the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake really hurts, because
that was genuinely a good game.
Yeah, and
Also-
one is a great game, right? Like Prince of Persia: Sands of Time is an amazing game. But then this remake was like rumored to be like, oh, this shit's about to get shadow dropped. Like there was like really prominent leakers coming out being like, this shit's about to get shadow dropped like right now. And then it got shadow dropped that it fucking got canceled. It's like, oh, never mind. So yeah, that really sucks, man. It seems like they really tried to revive Prince of Persia, but that looks like it just didn't happen. Sucks too, because I heard Rogue Prince of Persia was really good, and obviously Lost Crown is amazing. So it just sucks they didn't get the sale numbers they wanted. But yeah, that's just how it is. I guess we'll keep following on this and see what's next for Ubisoft as the year goes on, but it ain't looking good. So
yeah, can you believe they are the only companies to get a collaboration with Nintendo and like Mario with like Mario and Rabbids and
they were good.
Yes, good those games are good. Those games are good. Those might keep the lights on for them, but yeah.
Alrighty. So last bit of news is some funny stuff. So we got the Marvel
maybe
Rivals,
not so funny stuff, depending on how
or
you
not
look
so
at it.
funny. It's kind of funny, but also not. So the 40K tournament drama. So I'll explain a little bit of it. So basically, when they're having like this Deadpool open invitational bullshit, and then a bunch of streamers were coming in here for like a draft tournament, right? And they were able to pick their players. So they had a bunch of different team captains, and Cece was one of the team captains, right? And she picked Kingsman to be on her team. And, she said she wanted to win. So she picked he's a top 500 player. So it's like, yeah, he's going to be on my team. Easy pick, right? So from the VODs I was seeing, Kingsman wanted to do some scrims. So he's like, all right, let's take this seriously. He wanted to win this 40K. Granted, this 40K is split between everyone. So it's like 3K per player, I believe. So he's like, all right, let's do these scrims, right? So they started playing some scrims, and then everything went to shit. He wanted to play really serious. He wanted them to, play certain heroes, that would work well for each other, like run triple support, all that meta relevant stuff. And the rest of the team did not want to do that. Zaza did not want to switch off Black Widow, even though she was not doing super well with it. She was just one-tricking the whole way through. None of them wanted to do triple support either because, we don't know how to play support. So they just weren't following the meta. And Kingsman wasn't even really being that rude about it. He was just saying, look, we're going to lose if we don't do this, right? And you think they were listed to the top 500 player, but they did not. So at the end, they kicked him out. And then they proceeded to fucking lose and get last place. So that's the gist of the situation. If you want to get more into the nitty gritty about it,
that is the gist of it. There was just a lot of, I would say, like ego checking and kind of just, just not so much fun behavior, because obviously like Kingsman, I believe he's like a 20-year-old broke college student, and on his free time, he likes to play Marvel Rivals, and that's just what he did. And he got very good at it. And when he was in this tournament, he was like, hey guys, we're doing scrims. And if you guys don't know what scrims are, it's pretty much practice games. You are going into these trying to emulate the same environment that you would play within a real tournament. And when you're doing that, hey guys, let's like try out like different comps, different heroes. This is where you could like get the sort of bad stuff out, find out what's good, find out what's bad, and go from there. But obviously they just wanted to play what they wanted to play. And, he obviously knows more about the game than I would say the other players did. And he's like, look, they're going to run triple support. They're going to run double dive into the fucking Widow if we don't like try this stuff, which is what they did, by the way. That's exactly what they did after they kicked Kingsman out and they took last place. They ran the other teams would run like double dive with like Daredevil and Spider-Man and just jump the Black Widow.
Pretty obvious,
And some of the teams would also run like triple healers and shit like that. It's like, when you have a game like Marvel Rivals where team comps are very flexible and very fluid in terms of what you can play. And especially in fucking Marvel Rivals, I could never play that shit competitively. There's so much shit flying around. Yeah. And sure, you have this player who is a Widow one trick, and maybe they should have tried to play into her strengths, but at the same time, you have to realize that like you can't necessarily cater everything to just how this player plays. You have to also realize that like the other team is gonna counter strat and like do other things to get the advantage for themselves. Because once again, guys, there's $40,000 of prize pool money on the fucking line. Whether this guy wanted it that badly or not, it's like you're playing in this tournament and there's legitimate real money on the line. And also, by the way, when you're playing in a tournament like this, I feel like, especially when there's like real life money on the line, usually teams have to like buy into it, but these are content creators, these are streamers, they just got invited in, they didn't have to pay to get in. So they got in for free, and there's potentially thousands of dollars on the line here, and we just want to play for vibes or whatever. And Cece obviously didn't like that, so she went to, I believe, the sort of like TO, the tournament coordinator, and he looked at the evidence, quote unquote. Really, he only looked at one side. He did like sort of own up to it and was like, yeah, I fucked up, I made a mistake. But at the same time, it's like, bro, if you're running this fucking tournament, I feel like you should look at both sides of the story and not just kick Kingsman out without at least talking to him. Because I could understand from the other perspective where they're trying to play for fun or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, you guys willingly wanted to play in this tournament for real life money. You got to take it somewhat seriously, and just playing for vibes and for fun, you're not going to have fun like that, especially when there's so much on the line. And like, if fucking one of my teammates, like Kingsman, this guy's top 500, he knows what he's doing. If I'm on that team, he's like, bro, switch to Luna. I'm like, I bet, bro, say less. I got you, man. I'm going to just play whatever the fuck you want me to play, because he really wants that money. And whether you want it that badly or not, you should at least try for the sake of your team. Because when you're playing a team game, no matter if it's Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, League of Legends, Valorant, whatever the fuck, you got to try to put yourself before everything else. Or how the fuck am I supposed to say this? You're supposed to put the team before everyone else, right? You got to make sure that you guys as a unit are able to come out on top. And yeah, sure, like you could play for fun, for vibes or whatever. But at the end of the day, if there's someone on my team that really wants it that badly, I'm going to fucking try my best, because that's just who I am. But I get it. Also, it's just like, you go into this tournament as like a team captain and you're trying to win, and then you go into scrims and you're like, now we're playing for fun. It makes no sense. And it is just crazy that they were just able to bully him out of this. And I think if he didn't make that like hour-long TikTok and like YouTube video, this wouldn't have blown up in the way that it did, because he had literally, his video is not even him just like talking. It's just clips from his stream of the scrims in terms of what happened from his side, because the TO obviously didn't look that deep into it. He just took CC's word for it, and like the other people that were on that team, Zaza, the Black Widow one, Trigger, was like, yeah, like he's trying to force the meta down our throats, so yada yada yada. Like, you gotta at least work with him, because like they weren't working with him. Like, that was like my biggest thing, right? Like, it's one thing for them to like try it out and then see that like it's not, because in those scripts he was also like hard carrying, and he's not even playing meta. He's just playing magic. He's just running it down. He's just getting in there, killing their supports, getting out. Like, this guy is crazy. I'm like, what the fuck? This is why I hate this fucking character. But just seeing him play, and then after they kick him, obviously they fucking went, I think it was like 1-7, 1-8 or whatever. I'm like, yeah, of course you guys fucking lost. It's like, you guys didn't listen to him, you guys kicked him, and then you're playing with a sub, which they got like very quickly, suspiciously enough. But yeah, like just fucking, like, if you're playing in a tournament, if you're playing in a team environment, whether it is with people or not, whether it is content creators or whatever the fuck the situation is, just listen to them to a certain extent. Obviously, like, make your own judgment calls. But tournament situations, especially like this one where you are invited and you are talking actively and communicating with people, whether it is just for that weekend or for like a upcoming tournament, you should always try to do your best and try to put the team before you and all this other stuff. Because, like I recently played League of Legends Clash last night with like some one old ex-teammate and then a bunch of his friends. And obviously we're coming in with like zero prep, zero anything. But, I'm trying my best. We're throwing out ideas and shit like that. It's fun. It's a good vibe. Obviously we're fucking winning like League of Legends rewards. So like, it's obviously not that high of stakes compared to thousands of dollars. But, at the same time, it's like when you're in a team environment, you got to drop the ego and just try to play for the team. And I think these people outside of Kingsman did not want to do that. And like, I could see how, just like last thing, I could see how people could view Kingsman as like being an asshole. But when you're in a team environment, especially when you don't have that much time to practice and like get the reps in, you have to be like blunt about it. Because I would much rather my teammate be like, yo, Travis, you fucked this shit up. And I'd be like, yep, you're right. How do we fix this? Because when you're beating around the bush and like trying to like, care about their feelings first before like the actual game, it becomes like a dancing thing, right? Like you're kind of like dancing around them and you're not really getting to like the root of the problem.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're in like a competitive situation like that, you kind of have to just expect that. But I guess they just have different mentalities different mentalities of like what it is that they're doing, right? It's like they were going into it being like it's like a fucking quick play game, like just being like, hey, we can just do whatever the fuck we want. But he was in it like actually taking it serious because in Nevada, I think he said is the biggest like tournament he was ever in for Marvel Rivals. And you know, he wanted to take it seriously. He wanted to win the money. He wanted to do well, and you know, I think those players should have respected him, especially because they picked him to begin with. So you think they would have been like, okay, let's listen to this guy. And obviously they said they picked him because they wanted to win. So again, you think they would listen to him when it came to strategy and what to do. And you know, when it comes to like games like this, you know, if you are playing quick plays, like who cares, right? It's like, yeah, there's nothing on the line. You're just playing for fun. You can play characters you never played before. You know, just have fun. It doesn't really matter. But even when you're playing like something like ranked, where obviously nothing really matters either. You're just getting rank points. But you go into that expecting to take the game more seriously at that point. So if someone tells you, hey, don't take the game so seriously if you're playing a ranked game, like why are you playing ranked at that point, right? So it's kind of like the same situation, but tenfold, because now you're like in an actual tournament with actual money, right? But I think the problem was those other streamers kind of just view this as content and not really as like a thing to win, right? It was like something they could stream, get more views, and that's it. While Kingsman was not really looking at it as content, but as something to win, right? Like a tournament.
Which,
like,
ironically, he's the one that came out with the views and all of that stuff.
Ironic, because he made this into content to get them views and stuff. Probably not intentional, obviously. Like he just did it.
Yeah,
be like, this
he
is
just wanted
up.
to like show that like he
this
wasn't wrong.
Yeah. And you know, he didn't really twist anything. Like again, his whole video isn't like really edited. It just kind of just shows like the game and that's it. So So yeah, I think if you're going to be playing in a competitive environment like this, you should at least take it seriously. Even if you know you're not super great, even if you are one trick, at least like try to be like, okay, I could maybe learn this guy, because he kept telling her to play Bucky. He's like, okay, I'll play Bucky or something, just to see how that works out, right? So and you know, also 3K, you know, like I want some of that 3K
bro,
too.
$3,000, like that is a fuck ton of money.
That's a good amount of money, man.
I think a lot of that, you know, mentality of them, like, yeah, we're just gonna play for the vibes, right? Is because they didn't need that money as much as he did, right? Like that's like another sort of like layer there with like the privilege and like where they come from and like maybe how they view money because they've made it as a content creator or whatever. It's like, you know, I'm fucking busting my ass on my goddamn retail job, and I'm like, I fucking hate this shit. I would love to be sitting at my desk, chatting with chat, you know, playing games, talking shit, being entertaining, but like not everyone gets that life. You know, you have to put the work in or even get lucky. Like that's how a lot of these people get off or sort of blow up on these platforms and find their community and shit. So, you know, like, especially if you're in a tournament, like I said, just like take it a little bit seriously, especially there's real life money on the line. There's also another layer to this where like fucking other people that were not on the team were like planning evidence against Kingsman, which was like not real evidence, which had then caused him to get kicked. And, you know, I get it because I think the TO said it's a zero tolerance policy, but at the same time, you didn't look deeply enough. And then again, he said he's sorry. He takes full accountability for it. But at the end of the day, it was not right. It was not correct. And I don't know what the fuck NetEase is going to do for future tournaments, because the reason why it was a 40K pot is because NetEase sponsored this shit.
Yep.
So maybe they might view this as like a double-edged sword. It was like, well, you know, more people are talking about Rivals and, you know, all of this other stuff. But like it did cause like a huge fucking drama controversy out of nowhere, honestly. Like it honestly had no business being as big as it was, but it just blew up overnight.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like the game companies sponsoring tournaments, I think that's why they like to keep it more official. So things like, well, I don't even know, the LCS isn't a thing anymore, right? Like, but you know what I'm saying? Like Riot controlled environment or like Valve controlled environments for like Counter-Strike or Dota 2. For this one was just more of like, yeah, just get the streamers on, whatever, right? And then it became a fucking mess. So I think having this more controlled environment would be better if they ever do like a NetEase like sponsored tournament, but I guess we'll see.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 181. We will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
Later.